Hey guys, thanks for joining me. Let's learn how to paint this cute lion face. With some tag white loaded on my sponge, I'm going to start around about there where the eyebrow ends of the child's face, and I'm going to just dab some white just on there to define the edge of the lion's ears, and I'm going to repeat that on the other side like this. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my sponge and smudge that white to create the lion's muzzle. So I'm going to dab the white just starting from there, from the edge of the child's nose, and I'm going to make my way around the bottom lip, the top of the bottom lip, and then I'm going to also just right there where the muzzle is, I'm going to come further out. Then down the bottom here, I'll just create an upside down triangle to just give the lion's goatee a bit of a definition. Now I'm picking up some burnt orange from Tag, and once my sponge is loaded, I'm going to start to define the inside of the lion's face, and then we'll proceed on to the mane. So to begin with, we'll just define the inside of the lion's face by now I'm just going to create the ears. So these are the tops of the ears, just there. So just by giving it a round flick as we're dabbing up the top, we're creating an arch. Then I'm going to just carefully go along here and create a little dip, and then proceed across the eye, the top of the eye, and now I'll do the other ear on the other side. It's just a half like a semicircle going upward. Now continuing along, I'm just going to complete in filling in the top of the child's eye. Obviously he's closing, or she's closing her eyes, and I'm just dabbing. As you can see, I'm pinching the sponge and I'm dabbing the paint onto the child's face. And so I'm just completing that area, going around where the yellow meets the white muzzle. And now from the edge of the child's eye right down to the side of the muzzle here, I'm going to just come down in a little curvy, slightly curved into the muzzle, and that's the edge of the inside of the face of the lion before the mane starts. So repeating that on the other side. With some brown loaded onto a fresh sponge, or on the other side of that sponge, you can continue on dabbing the paint onto the child's face. And now this is what we're just defining the mane here. So I'm going to try and keep it uneven right up the top. As you can see, I've got a little peak up there, and I'm just dabbing and dabbing, continuing on the dabbing motion as we did with the yellow, and just filling in that area. Now I'm continuing to paint on the mane by dabbing the brown onward, and now I'm just going to make my way along the side of the mane. So just dabbing, dabbing, dabbing. It doesn't have to be perfect. Dab it on. Don't try to drag the sponge onto the skin to make a shape with your sponge, because that sometimes will leave a real streaky texture that the paint will create onto the child's face. So continue on dabbing. Look, a child's skin is going to absorb the paint a lot better than this practice head, but just continue on dabbing, and try and make it as uneven as possible, because it is a mane. So there's going to be some hair that will draw on with some line work. So continuing on, getting there. With the number 4 round brush, let's start with the ears. So I've just flicked from thick to thin, just a semicircle, like a flick outward, just to outline that, and let's just make some fur along the side of the ear. So just flicking out another half C from thick to thin, and then making some more little furs coming from inside the ear, making it look as though he's got a furry ear. Now I've just repeated the same on the other side, flicking from thick to thin outward, and then following with some tiny little flicks to define the inside of the ear fur. Where the dip is, in the middle of the forehead there, I'm going to flick my number 4 round brush upwards and create some fuzzies just up the top there. I'll repeat that on the other side. So flicking from thick to thin upwards, very gently, just giving it some gentle flicks up. Now from the bottom of the ear, I'm going to continue on flicking down really gently, doing really small strokes, flicking down with my number 4 brush. Now let's define the edge of the muzzle. So same strokes, coming down, flicking downwards, just making a little curve right down to the edge of the lips, and now going right down to the tip of the goatee, giving him some fuzz right down the bottom, and then meeting up from the other side, meeting up to the middle of the chin. Now from the other side of the face, flicking down from that corner of the nose right down, giving it some fuzz. I like to give my muzzles some dimension by bringing in some flicks inward just to give it some depth. Now for my whisker dots, I'm going to make them from thick to thin. So pressing down on the brush for the first one, making a thick dot, then slightly touching to make them thinner as we make our way to the middle of the mouth, the lips right there. Now for Mr. Lion's nose, I'm going to just draw a straight line across the top of the nose, and then I'm going to continue into an upside down triangle, going right down to the middle of the top of the lips, sort of reaching there, not getting quite to the top of the lip. Now for the actual lion lips, I'm going to create a little triangle right up the top lip where the middle is, and work my way to the sides of the lips and just filling in that bottom lip with complete black. Now just defining the shape of the lion's head, I like to bring some strokes down like this just to give it some definition of the actual shape. So it's kind of like shadowing, I guess, we're doing here. You can always, with your pinky, smudge it down a bit as well, just to make it more into a shadow, but smudging doesn't go too well with mannequin practice heads. So for this tutorial purposes, we'll leave it at that. Now with my number 4 brush nicely loaded, I'm going to start on the mane. So I'm just flicking upward and giving it the illusion that there's a mane with flyaways. So just loading some more black on there. And now I'm just going to flick outwards and let them meet in the middle there, so it looks like it's actually a clump of hair that you've got going there. So just from thick to thin. I totally missed the other side with defining the lion's face. So Just giving it some flicks outward like that and joining the other side. And there you have it, guys, a simple lion design. Super popular with the boys and girls, of course. You can mix it up with some pink and some purple instead of the yellow and the brown mane. For girls, if you wanted to, mix it up with different colors. But it's a fun one to practice and try on kids. So have fun with it. If you liked it, thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss another tutorial. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.